Hey, and welcome to this time travel video. It's not actually a time travel video, but it's about January, and it's currently March. Let me explain. So back in January, I made a Goodreads account, which is, if you somehow don't know about it, a website where you basically keep track of what books you want to read and what books you have read. This January, I was like, this year, I'm gonna commit to reading lots of books because I love reading. But when you're in university and you're super busy, you don't always have time to read lots of books just for fun or even at all, other than like books you read specifically for class. And I want to read more because I love books and also I'm a writer, and the best way to get better at writing is to read more. So I was like, how can I commit to reading more books? And I figured the best way to commit to reading more books would be to keep track of all the books I'm reading. And Goodreads has a nice cool little widget thing where you set a number of books that you want to read for the year, and then it keeps track for you and it tells you how close you are to being on your goal. So in January, I made a Goodreads account, I started keeping track of all the books I read, and I set my goal to 52 books this year. I figure I can read, on average, a book a week. So, why does that have to do with this video? Well, I figured as I keep track of the books I'm reading this year, I could do little like recommendation review videos each month about the books I read. I meant to start doing that in January, but I got busy. So I'm going to this month quickly do a January and a February video, and then do a March video at the end of March, and then from then on for the rest of the year, and maybe the year after that, I don't know, I'm gonna do like a little review rating video about the books that I read in that month. Yeah, so time travel, because this is actually about January even though it's technically March, but not actually about time travel. I didn't read any books about time travel, though I wish I did because time travel is cool. So, I was kind of busy in January, didn't read a ton. I basically read like 2.5 books, so I'm gonna review the 2 main books I read in January. Not really review, just kind of tell you about them and why I liked them. So the first book I read in January was Romeo and Juliet by Ryan North. If you don't know who Ryan North is, he is good friends with Andrew Hussey of Homestuck fame, and he's a really cool guy. He's Canadian. Canadians represent. He makes comics. He writes The Amazing Squirrel Girl, which I think is actually like a Marvel or a DC comic. He does the dinosaur comics. If you've never heard of the dinosaur comics by Ryan North, they're hilarious. And he also wrote a couple Shakespeare-inspired Choose Your Own Adventure books. He also has a Hamlet one, which I haven't read yet, but I read this Romeo and Juliet one. It's actually really long because there's like a ton of branching paths you can go on, but it's super, super funny, super good, exactly my kind of humor. I love this book. You can play, because it's like, you know, Choose Your Own Adventure, you get to sort of play the story as either Romeo or as Juliet. Romeo is like a 15-year-old lovesick kid who loves romance and wants to marry everyone. There's literally one path where like he just wants to sign marriage certificates with everyone in the city. And Juliet is this super buff badass who loves nothing more than muscles and kissing boys. It's super funny. If you like Shakespeare, but you also like Shakespeare being the kind of humorous thing it's meant to be and not like super old and dusty, then check this out. It's really funny. You know, it's got sort of a Homestucky vibe because Ryan North and Hussey are friends and they've got a similar sense of weird humor. But if you like weird stuff and you like Choose Your Own Adventure books and you want to read about a badass buff Juliet, would recommend. A+, I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads. And the other main book I read in January was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So Leigh Bardugo wrote 2 books called Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which I read last year and really loved. Like, highly, highly recommend Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Incredibly, incredibly well written young adult fantasy novels with really good characters. So good. Absolutely recommend if you at all like young adult fantasy stuff. And then she also wrote a trilogy called the Grisha Trilogy, which are like prequels. Well, she actually wrote them first. She wrote the Grisha Trilogy, and then she wrote Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which are like not quite sequels, but they're like set in the same universe. So I read those 2 first, really loved them. So I went back and read the Grisha books. This is the first one, Shadow and Bone. It's pretty good. It isn't, in my opinion, it isn't as good as Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. When you read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, you can tell how much Leigh Bardugo's writing improved, because it's so good in Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. But the Grisha Trilogy is pretty good as well. It's a little more standard fare fantasy, I would say. Like, there's a girl who's kind of the chosen one, and she has magic powers, and there's like a love triangle, and but it's really still quite well written. Compelling characters, really cool universe. That's what it has going for it. The Grisha universe, so it's a fantasy universe where there's people called Grisha, who essentially are like elemental magic people, sort of. and there's just very complex like world and politics going on. So if you really like solid fantasy worlds, the Grisha books are really, really good. If you haven't read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom yet, maybe read these first because they do provide a lot of like backstory for the world of those books. But know that these are a little more standard fair fantasy, whereas Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom are a little more creative. They're like a heist story, which is like super, super rad. So pretty good. I gave this a 4 on Goodreads. It wasn't as incredible as her later books, but it was still pretty darn good. There's 2 more in this series. It's a trilogy. I read the other 2 in February. Well, I kind of started the second one in January and then I finished it in February. So in my February video, I will talk about the other 2 Grisha books. But yeah, the main 2 books I read in January were Romeo and Juliet and Shadow and Bone. I would recommend both of them. This one especially because it's super funny and weird, but this one has a really good universe and the subsequent books are really good, and Leigh Bardugo is just a really, really cool writer. If you want to check out my Goodreads, I will put it in the description, and we can all just enjoy books together. And I'll put like a little counter of how close I'm getting to 52, so right now I am at, well, technically, like I said, time travel, I'm in March now, but as of January, I'm at 2 out of 52 books of my goal of reading 52 books in the year 2017. So I hope you'll enjoy all my little book videos because I love books and I want to talk about them. So thanks for watching. Comment below if you read either of these books and if you like them, or if you're going to go read them now that I've talked about them. And let me know if you have a Goodreads account, if you want to be friends with me, friend me on Goodreads, and let me know what your goal is. How many books do you want to read this year? You can also like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Like I said, I'm going to do the February book review video in the next couple weeks, and then I'm going to do a March one at the end of March, and then I'm going to do one every month until the end of 2017 and maybe into the future. And I make other videos about things like Homestuck and anime and video games and just my hobbies and things that I enjoy. I've also been posting quite a few like little short film videos that I've been making for my film production class. So if you like some more narrative, humorous kind of stuff, not just like vloggy stuff, I have a bit of that. So yeah, thanks for watching.